अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों आज जो हमारे साथ हमारी इस बज़्म में शरीक हैं उनका नाम है मेहमत मुस्तफ़ा और वो यूके से जो है वो आए हैं यहाँ पे टू अटेंड अ कॉन्फ्रेंस। आए थे अटेंड करने के लिए कॉन्फ्रेंस और उनसे हमने रिक्वेस्ट की कि वो हमारी इस पॉडकास्ट में भी शरीक हो जाएं, तो इनको वेलकम कीजिएगा इनका इंटरव्यू देख के। और एक चीज़ है कि मुझे ये इंटरव्यू जो है वो इंग्लिश में करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हमारे ये जो साथी हैं ये उर्दू नहीं समझ सकते हैं, तो और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि इस इंटरव्यू के साथ जो है कैप्शन हम उर्दू में लगाएं ताकि हमारे उर्दू देखने और समझने वालों को भी जो है ये इंटरव्यू समझ आ सके। सो डियर व्यूअर्स, today we are honored to have a very special guest, Mr. MEHMET MUSTAFA, with us. Thank you, Mr. MEHMET Mustafa, that you are here and gave us a time so we have a podcast with you. A brief intro of MEHMET is that he has traveled from UK to attend one conference here, which recently held at Irtaka Institute of Social Sciences. It's on Lenin, and he presented his paper. And as far as his political association is concerned, he is affiliated with Labour Party of Turkey, right?
Yeah, right.
And he is a regular contributor to one newspaper which is called Evresinel in Turkey, right? Evrensel in Turkey, and if you translate it, it's a universal. So he's a regular contributor over there, as well as he is also editor of two newspaper in Britain, which is in Kurdish and Turkish, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you for me.
Okay. Mehmet, let's start. My very first question is your paper. I was there, and it's all about national question. Yes. And this question is very important for Pakistan also. Yeah. And I have heard your all paper as I was there, so it was very interesting. Can you summarize for us that what the national question is and why it's needed to address this question? Yeah. And secondly, how to analyze any national movement before supporting it?
Okay. But first of all, I have to say that after I'm coming here, I saw that there are really many national questions here in Pakistan.
Yeah.
One is Baluchi problem, the other Kashmir's problem that I know before, and the third one is the Punjabi one.
Lot of national questions here. Yeah. Even Sindhis have their own grievances.
Yeah, there are very many, and it's important that. And then Lenin said, in those days of Lenin survival, it is a very great problem in Russia also, because there are...
During those days?
Yes, Lenin's days.
Okay.
Because there are oppressed nations there, and who was oppressed, the nations and the great Russian nations there. And like here, nowadays, in Pakistan, in Turkey and the other countries, we have the problems. In national problems. But in my paper, I began with Lenin is not a nationalist. Just vice versa, Lenin is an internationalist, foremost internationalist, and against nationalism. But on the other hand...
But how come he was giving so relaxation to the nations? If you want to be separated, you can, and all that.
First of all, Lenin, just as Lenin, Marxists are against all oppressions, not on the national one, but the others. The feudal oppression, what kind of oppression that you mind it? The Marxists are against all kinds of oppressions. Because of, you cannot go to socialism and achieve the socialism without against all the other kinds of oppressions. The nations, the peasants, and the other oppressed peoples only educated with these movements who they are against oppression, and then comes together, comes closer and closer to socialism. It's the only way. There are not another ways. And because of that, Lenin is underlined the defense of the national rights. If anywhere of the world, if there are national inequalities and national oppressions, Lenin and the others follows Lenin, as me, are against the inequalities and oppressions in the national area. If anybody doesn't do that, he's not a Marxist. On the other hand, he is not a Democrat. If there is an oppression, we have to be against it, because we cannot go to socialism in any other way. Any national movement against oppression have a democratic wave, democratic things in it that we defend it. We defend the national movements because of they are against oppression. But if the national movement wants some privilege for them, for example, if Beluji is said, for example, they want the privilege against Pakistani peoples, Punjabi peoples, or the others, we are not defended. We defend only their movements against oppression. And the other thing in the capitalist area, or let's say the capitalism has two basic historical tendencies. One is nationalism and the other is internationalism. In capitalism, I speak to. The first one belongs to the area of the capitalism that begins to rise in the beginning of the capitalism, that the national movements are begin to rise. And the second one, I mean the internationalism, belongs to the mature capitalism, the capitalism that began to turn to the, or close to transmit the socialism at the end of the capitalism, like imperialism that we are living in. And for example, now there are very many imperialist countries, but the huge of the countries are oppressed nations countries. They have their independence, but they are oppressed by imperialists. But I want to say something. The imperialist ones, they are internationalists, and they export capitals on the other countries. They trade with the others in the global scale, and they produce very many commodities in these countries and the other countries. For example, Chinese or US product in Malaysia or Pakistan or the other countries, and they take these commodities another country and adjust them the other countries. For example, Apple. Apple is produced in Chinese, in Taiwan and the other countries, but they send them to US and then come together in US and export the other countries from there. This is internationalism, but the capitalist internationalism. But those countries, indeed, in the same time, focused some national markets. For example, US markets, US bourgeoisie's market is the US especially. And they focused on this market. On the other hand, the imperialist bourgeoisie centralized or focused in somewhere, some markets. For example, the US capitalists centralized in US, Chinese in China, and the others, the other markets. And this is the nationalization of them. They struggle with each other, depends on their main markets, main production places. And for example, the US imperialism compete with the Chinese in which way? In nationalist way, but an international market. They are both internationalized, but despite of this, they are in the same time nationalized. The competition between them is, of course, a nationalistic thing, but they have no relations between their nations and their national interests. They are cosmopolites then, and they get their incomes all over the world. They splundered and they exploited all nations, not only the Americans one, not only American market, but all the markets of the world. This is the internationalist thing, and when they compete each other, centralized in another, this is the nationalist thing.
Okay, please.
For example, Kautsky said there will be only one imperialist, ultra-imperialism. It's nonsense. It will not be so thing. Because imperialists are separated in some poles. US here, the Chinese the other, Russian the other, Germany in the other, and compete with them in which way? In national way. They want to divide the world in their interests. This is the way, but altogether, they oppressed all the oppressed nations, and they plunder them, and exploit them in all ways, by exporting capital, with trade, in every way, by giving debt. For example, just like here in Pakistan, I know that China gives very many debts here in Pakistan, almost
65
million.
Yeah, billion.
Billion dollars. That's the way, one of the way of Chinese get some incomes from here in Pakistan. From there,
foreign investment always comes to make profit, right?
Yes, of course.
They are not coming to do the charity. Okay, Mehmet, again come to the question, right? Because it's very important question. For example, if we are having, as you said, that there are so many national movements within Pakistan and all over the world also.
Yes.
So if any national movement is aligning themselves to the imperialist power, then what will be the course of action will be for the Marxists? What will Marxists do?
First of all, the Marxists cannot say that this movement is linked with imperialists and therefore they don't have any rights for their self-determination. No. Every nation has...
Being a Marxist, one cannot say this.
Yes. Every nation, even linked with some imperialists, of course, and no doubt they have the rights to their self-determination. It's absolute thing. But if they linked with imperialism and before most of that, they speak with their mouths, with their tongues, and their interest, if their interest tied with the imperialists and unite with the imperialists, this is another thing. We cannot support that kind of movements.
We cannot.
We cannot. But they have rights, but right is one thing, and our support is another thing. They have rights, but we don't support that kind of movements. If they are linked, and not only linked, but unite with the imperialists. But others, if they are struggle with their own rights, own national rights, yes, we defend it.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mehmet. One more thing I want to ask, as you mentioned that before supporting any national movement, we have to analyze it, right?
Yes, a concrete analysis.
Yeah. One thing, right? There are so many Islamic movements all around, right? Yeah. Especially we are living in Pakistan, yes. So you can easily find so many groups, right? And sometimes in their character, they are against imperialists. Yeah. So what will be the action being a Marxist? What should you do? Being a Marxist, what one should do?
Probably it's okay. For example, in Lenin's days, in Afghanistan, there was Emanullah Khan in those days.
Okay.
Who fight against UK imperialists, I mean the British imperialists.
Right.
And Lenin defended him. Lenin support him.
Amanullah Khan.
Yeah, Emanullah Khan. Despite of who is, which is who, is Emanullah Khan or the another Islamic power or such and such.
For example, nowadays Taliban, nowadays Hezbollah, nowadays Hamas.
Yes. If they are against imperialism and they fight with imperialists, yes, it's okay. But if they want something for them, for the national ways, for example, Afghans, I mean Talibans, if want something reactionary for them, they are against it. But if they fight with imperialists, yes, it's a good thing.
If America is in Afghanistan and they are fighting for their freedom,
yes.
So what one should do?
Yeah, of course, it's concrete. We have to fight with Americans there.
Okay.
But when we are fighting Americans, we cannot be puppets of Chinese or Russians or another imperialists. It's concrete things. We cannot fight with imperialists by laying down with another imperialists. It's impossible. Which is possible is as a national movement, an anti-imperialist movement, is to be against imperialism. But if you fight with one imperialist with a puppet of another imperialist, it is not an anti-imperialist.
And how do you look in this thing that...
By analyzing the conditions, by analyzing the movements.
No, to shake hand with a smaller enemy to defeat big enemy.
Who is...
For example, you said Russian imperialist and American
Yes.
imperialist.
But
If someone is looking broad spectrum, that maybe Russia is the imperialist, but it's a smaller imperialist.
No,
and America is the...
It's imperialist, okay.
Imperialist is imperialist.
Yeah, imperialist is imperialist. There is no small and big imperialist. Yes, there are small ones, like for example, Belgium or Italy. They are small ones. But small or big, they are imperialists. But the Americans, Chinese and Russians, these three especially, and the European ones, they are really big imperialists. And we cannot defend their ways. We cannot go with them. We cannot shake hands with them.
Okay, thank you, Mehmet. One more thing, which is very important and all over the world context, as well as in Pakistan context, that there is an ongoing debate whether China is imperialist country or the socialist country, right?
Yeah.
What do you say on it? Because there is a confusion which they are creating. They are still using the word socialism, and people are thinking that in few years it will come up with whole socialist economy or something like that, right? They are different assumptions.
Yes.
So how do you think and see this situation?
Yes. On the days of Mao Zedong, coming from there, yes, Mao is a great leader, great revolutionary. But he is only a democratic revolutionary man. He is not a Marxist. He is not a socialist man. Why? He is only against a kind of capitalism, the comprador capitalism, the very big capitalism, the puppets of the American imperialists. He expatriates of their commodities, their properties. But he never against the whole bourgeoisie. He said the national bourgeoisie is our friend. And he said in China it will be 1/3 system. In the power, proletariat, the petty bourgeoisie and the national bourgeoisie come together. All of them, the three class will be in the power. He said so. he never tried to expropriate the competition of the bourgeoisie. The national bourgeoisie is friend and lives in all periods. After Mao, Deng Xiaoping goes forward. He thrown over the proletariat of petty bourgeoisie. They are not in the power, but in the world. They wipe out them from the power. Now, which class in the power is only bourgeoisie. And China, all we know that, is a not small country. If China is a capitalist country, there is no chance, no other chance, but it's imperialist. How? China has very many foreign investments, billions and billions of dollars. It's racing with America, I mean US imperialism. Not only Asia, but in Africa, even in Latin America. They invest money, they give debts, they give credits. And all this has some incomes transfer back to the China. What is that? They get profits from these investments and also from the trades. China has trades with all nations, and with all nations, China is supremacy. Exports very many things.
More.
But
importing from that, very few.
Very few, but only the energy. Petroleum, gas, and that kind of things. But otherwise, sell everything to them. And especially the technical commodities, for high technical commodities. And with this, they depend the nations, the countries who sell these commodities. For example, they go to the African countries, let's say Zambia.
Yeah.
China, a China company, a state company, joint investment there. At the end,
JV, joint venture, I think.
Joint venture, yeah. At the end, now the broadcasting company, the national broadcasting of Zambia is Chinese now.
Okay.
Just as the Humboldt port in Sri Lanka, it's just in the hands of Chinese now. Why? They give debts, and Sri Lanka didn't give back. At the end, the port is Chinese hands. That's all. This is imperialism. What kind of other...
But people who support China, their argument is China never invaded any nation, border-wise, right?
But what is that? If you say you send money somewhere, invest there, and get profit there from the proletariat, from the soldiers of the proletariats of those countries. This is the income, this is the
invasion.
Surplus value comes from there to the Chinese companies. This is exploitation.
And invasion, right?
Yes, invasion.
Economic invasion.
Let's look at the Soviet days, Lenin's days and after Stalin's days. For example, they give debts to Turkey in those days. But there is no interest.
No interest.
No interest. Give the money, and Turkey gave the, not with money, but the products. Only the products in very long period. Only, nothing else. And Russia, in those days, I mean the Soviet Russia, hasn't come to Turkey and invest a foreign investment. Now, give that, the Turkey invest there. This is socialism.
Even those days, Russia installed one steel mill here in Pakistan.
Yeah. Did they come and invest a foreign investment here? No. But after that, with Khrushchev and then Brezhnev, they began to invest something. Here, I don't know Pakistan, but Turkey and African countries, for example, Mozambique, Angola, even in Cuba, they invest something. And this is imperialism. If any country invests somewhere and get profit
out of
them, this is imperialism. This is a capitalistic way. Or else...
You cannot defend it.
Yeah, we cannot defend that kind of thing.
Or labeled it as socialism.
Yes.
You cannot.
Yes. And even, as I said, if the bourgeoisie of China is in the power, is it possible in a country that socialist, but in the same time bourgeoisie is in the power? It's impossible. If bourgeoisie is in the power, it's not socialism. In socialism, only the working class in the power.
You are talking about the national bourgeoisie of China, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Whatever bourgeoisie is this, if national or international.
So you are saying that all the leaders of Chinese Communist Party are bourgeois now?
Yes. Do you know? I don't know if you know or not. For example, Xi, the president of China, is one of the richest men of the world. Really, it's one of the richest men. But not as the Elon Musk and the others, like in United States or our European countries. But he all controls the markets in China and capitals in China, and he decides where China invest or where China give the debts or the other things. But has the money coming from there? Not only Xi, but the leaderships of the Chinese. And when going down in the communist ranks, they all have some incomes from these exploitation. Where the incomes from, for example, Latin countries or African countries that the Chinese have, where they gone? Yeah, they went to the Xi's and the others' pockets.
And one more question regarding China, right? If you compare living standard of Chinese people now, masses, and the living standard of Chinese people then, so don't you think they are in a better condition nowadays?
Yes, they are in better conditions now, yes.
Yes.
The past, they are on rural area. They live in the rural area, almost many of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but almost all of them. Very few in the cities, and in very backward conditions. Now they were in cities.
They have industrialized their economy.
Yes. At the beginning, when the Chinese capitalism began to increase, began to improve, develop, they get the peasants from the rural areas to the Shanghai or the other cities and give only rice to eat and show the place to sleep.
To eat and to be alive. Just,
and then work only.
Just as a slave.
Yes, only work. Now, not so. Yes, the Chinese proletariat, yes, have some standards of living, get some high wage from the beginning. Not only rice, not only sleeping places, but yes, but now they begin to strike in China because the low wages. Yeah. I suppose that the wage in China is more than here in Pakistan. But if you compare it with European countries, it's very low.
Okay.
And generally, even better in the past, now it is not good. The living conditions is not good in China.
Okay.
I speak about the proletariat conditions.
Okay. And comrade, one more relating to China, related to China. How do you see their role about Muslims who are living in China?
Yeah, Uyghurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, as in Hong Kong and Taiwan, especially United States try to use them for weakening the Chinese. Yes, this is the problem. But China doesn't recognize even their living rights, rights to life. They went to troops on them, sent the troops on them. They killed some of them. They captured them and went to the prison, put them to the prisons. That is not the way. A socialist country won't do that. For example, look at the Lenin's and Stalin's day in Russia. There are very many nations and come together as Soviet Union. Many nations. In China, they don't recognize Uyghurs. It's not acceptable.
Not acceptable.
Yeah, it's not acceptable. It is not socialism. As Lenin said, if there is a nation, you cannot oppress them, even in socialism. You cannot oppress them. You can give the rights, all rights, recognize their all rights, all national rights. But China didn't do it and doesn't do it.
Okay. Okay, now another question, right?
Yeah.
It's regarding Turkey. Generally speaking, in Pakistan, people of Pakistan really loves Turkey, right?
Yeah.
And they really love Turkey, and they also like Erdogan.
Yeah.
But being a Labour Party of Turkey, and you and your party and your allies
Yeah.
are against them, right?
Yes.
Why is it so?
Well, first of all, the Turkish and Kurdish people loves the Pakistani people.
Thank you.
All from the peoples and peoples relations is here, on the top of our heads.
And here also.
Yeah, and here also.
Yeah.
But the exploited classes is different. Erdogan represents the bourgeoisie of Turkey, even the monopoly bourgeoisie of Turkey, and the landowners. And I understand that we are all Muslims, Turkish people,
Yeah.
and here the Pakistan people.
He always starts his speech with verses, right?
Yes, and one reason is to love Erdogan is that he is Muslim, but he used Muslim, not he get the Quran in their hands and shake it. But Quran is not that kind of things. If you believe in Quran, do it. Not the shake on your hands, but the shake, Erdogan shake the Quran in his hands, but exploited the people, oppressed the people. For example, they oppressed Kurds there, but not only the Kurds, the working class. They don't give money, they don't give standard wage to them that survive themselves. The wage in Turkey, the minimum wage is almost $1,500.
$1,500
Yeah.
per month.
Yeah,
Okay.
the minimum wage. But in Turkey, you cannot survive with them. It's impossible. Almost the rents are so. Almost the rents are so. For example, in
Are
Istanbul.
you talking about lira or dollars?
dollars, yeah.
1,500.
No, 50, 50.
50,
Yeah, only 50,
100.
Yeah, 5 and 00, 50.
500.
Yeah, 500.
500. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, $500.
Okay.
And you cannot survive with this money in Turkey. Perhaps here, I don't know, but in Turkey, the rents of the houses are almost so. For example, in Istanbul, higher than that.
Okay.
And you will eat, you will go to
You
the
have the
factories.
kids, their fees,
Yeah, you
medical.
have the kids. Medical. It's impossible. For example, the pensions. I mean, the retirements. The pensions are very, very low. Lower than minimum wage.
Yeah.
Really lower than them. 5,000 liras less. How can they survive? It's impossible. And because of that, Erdogan began to lose their sports. In the recent years, in the last year, this year, he lost 10 points of their sport. In the last election, he got 45 with their alliance. Okay. Now it's 35.
Okay.
It's lost.
And comrade, what are the alternatives in Turkey for the people of Turkey? What are other alternatives, other options? If not Erdogan, can leftists come in the power?
This is the problem. Erdogan began to lose his support, but not us to gain this support. Even not the bourgeois opposition gain this support.
So who is gaining now?
Nobody. Now they are just flowing here. That doesn't support anybody. For this, for us, for example, we need to work harder than that, harder than we did now, for gaining their support, for organize them. Now they're only against Erdogan because Erdogan did nothing to them. They saw that.
You are so honest. You are not claiming that you
yeah,
are
yeah,
gaining,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But Erdogan is losing.
Yes, that's concrete things.
Okay.
Erdogan began to lose, and Erdogan has two chances from now on. Even organize a coup d'etat, push, I mean, or only loss, gone. Went to the litter of the history.
Okay, thank you very much, Mehmet. Okay, one more thing, Mehmet. You are here for the last 4 days, right?
Yes, right.
And you have attended one conference, today's conference.
And I saw very many things.
And yeah, you saw many things. You have met with many labor leaders. You just roamed around in the communities, right? You did you have participated in plantation drive also.
Yes.
So how do you feel like about Pakistan and especially about the left movement in Pakistan?
Yeah. I may say that I'm proud of the left movement, not the left movement, but the labor movement here in Pakistan. I'm proud of them.
Okay, but they don't have in power what power they have in past.
Yeah, for this we have to try so much. We hard workings, and make the workers come together, not only locally, but in the whole country.
Globally.
Unite in just in one movement, not here and there some local moments, but just one moment on a country scale.
Don't you think it's very difficult? Even leftists are not unite as a one.
Yes, there is some difficulties. Perhaps before leftists, the working class will unite. For example, in Russia, the Lenin's days. First, not the leftists, but the working class. United. Yes.
Okay.
They are Bolsheviks and Mensheviks.
Yeah.
But the working class come together. And then the Bolsheviks win, and then they represented the workers.
So
because they defend the interests of the working class.
So for the working class and for the labor movement in Pakistan, you are hopeful
that
it will.
I am hopeful all in the world, all over the countries. For example, United States, there are very many strikes there last year. In automotive, for example, sector, in the other sectors, for example, even in Amazon. In Amazon, they organized a trade union in New York.
But the thing is this, we have seen the even bigger strikes. You remember Occupy Wall Street?
Yes,
but where
they are? They are not working class movements.
Okay.
They are another kinds of movement. Yes, they are okay.
They have gone.
I'm not against them, but the working class movement is which the primary one, which the permanent one. But the others, okay, here or then, maybe going somewhere. But the working class movement, if united, cannot be defeated.
Cannot be defeated.
Yeah.
And you are hopeful for the revolution also.
Yes, of course.
Socialism also.
Yes, I believe in that. New great October revolutions are in front of us, and not far from us. Really.
Not far from us.
Yes, and let me say another thing. Perhaps a new world war. I mean, the third world war is not far from us. It's coming close and close.
So, will that war, if it happens, will help revolution or socialism?
But before this war, we try to prevent the war before. If we can't, then turn this war to the class war, and then the proletariat power. We can do that. I believe in that.
Okay.
And socialism defeats everything.
Okay.
And, I mean the working class especially. cannot be defeated, let's say again.
Okay, thank
If
you
they are
very
united.
much. Thank you very much,
Thanks for me.
Mehmet. Thank you. It's really pleasure talking
Yeah,
to you.
thanks for me.
Thanks, and keep on coming to, keep on visiting Pakistan.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Take care.
मेहनत कशीस दुनिया से जब अपना हिस्सा मांगेंगे, एक बाग नहीं एक खेत नहीं हम सारी दुनिया मांगेंगे, एक बाग नहीं एक खेत नहीं हम सारी दुनिया मांगेंगे।